We're going to start Monday morning with a rendition of Frosty the Snowman because we're still in the Christmas spirit because the entire family missed Christmas. So we're continuing to sing Christmas carols, right, Liberty? Yeah. And we're eating breakfast today. Unfortunately, I haven't seen you guys in a little while because with the holidays, and we've all been sick. And something you should know is that the CDC is reporting elevated flu rates across many states, really within the last week. So word to the wise, the flu is increasing, especially along the southern part of the United States. So we have firsthand investigative reporting on that, having all been through it. And I thought we were all over it. And I think we're over the flu. But last night around 4 o'clock in the morning, my little boy woke up with a stomach bug. So the endless laundry continues in our household, right? Mm-hmm. Right, Liberty? Yeah. But Liberty's feeling good this morning. We're eating, let's see if I can show you. We're eating a little frittata, a little Greek yogurt and blueberries. Great to see you guys. I've missed you. I mean, really. It hasn't been the same, but here's the good news. The good news is that if you went to sleep like Christmas Eve and you woke up this Monday, when it comes to politics, nothing has changed. Almost absolutely nothing. In fact, we all went to sleep on Christmas Eve and the government was shut down, and now we're all waking up, the government's still shut down. It's still the same issue. This is an issue about border funding, and the president has drawn a line in the sand, so to say. Democrats don't want to give increased funding. Republicans can't seem to find a way to negotiate to a different spot, and so here we are. And even if there was a miraculous discovery today, some sort of compromise, what you should know is that Congress is still not in session until tomorrow, so nothing can actually be done. Now, what this means is that right now, this shutdown is on track to be the longest, one of the longest in history. And in fact, this week will be the second longest in history if there's no sort of instant miraculous compromise. And by this weekend, it could be the longest shutdown ever. And we were sort of looking into, well, what was the first shutdown? When did that even begin? It really is a modern day phenomenon because it's the way that we're funding the government that started in like the 1970s. And basically what happens is Congress has to pass a whole bunch of appropriation bills. These are like assignments for our money. And Congress was able to pass a few of them in October, but they weren't able to pass the rest of them. So our government is actually partially funded. So that's something you should know. But the important stuff, a lot of the, well, I shouldn't say this. The military is funded, for example, through this shutdown. But there's still a significant part of the government that is not. And so that's what they're trying to solve. How this gets figured out, no one really knows. The president has talked about using emergency funding to get the border wall built. What that would take is a big question, and it would certainly be challenged in the court. So it's not like a snap, here's what's going to happen with the border wall. I am curious what you guys think about whether or not you think this is an issue to really take a stand on. One of the things I want to bring in too is, there was a really good unemployment report or jobs report on Friday. A whole bunch of jobs were created. Our unemployment rate went up slightly, but just because more people are looking for jobs, it's still extremely low. And so some are suggesting, and Jerry Seib actually in the Wall Street Journal is the columnist I really like to read. He was suggesting, listen, seeing that jobs report and getting that confidence about the economy is going to give the White House more confidence that this is a platform they should continue to pursue. So there's sort of like a connection there about a success in the economy and then seeing wanting to push more of their agenda forward. So let's see what happens. And right now, I think one of the big takeaways from the government shutdown is that even though it's a major issue, right, the American government is shut down, technically 800,000 federal employees are impacted. The everyday impact on people like us, it's not really that significant yet. It could be, it could be that we're not going to get certain paperwork from the IRS that we need or certain refunds. But the actual everyday effect of like, oh my gosh, we're not getting our mail or we're not getting our Amazon deliveries, these sort of things that sound trivial but could end up affecting your life and making you exhausted and then putting political pressure on politicians isn't really happening, right, amongst the masses. So it's sort of an interesting thing to watch. Okay. So that's the government shutdown. Check, check, check. We'll continue to watch it. In the meantime, something else I want to keep an eye on is I'm sure some of you remember the terrorist attack at the USS Cole It happened in the year 2000. Al-Qaeda terrorists in Yemen crashed a boat into the USS Cole, and 17 sailors died. It was a massive terrorist attack, and it was really seen as a precursor to 9/11. You know, it was a sign of danger and growth of Al-Qaeda. And over the weekend, the U.S. government confirmed that one of the terrorists thought responsible for the plot at the USS Cole, who has been hiding in Yemen apparently, was killed by a U.S. drone strike. And the reason why I think this is important for you to know is, number one, it's easy to forget sometimes these terrorist attacks that have happened and killed Americans. But it's also sort of an interesting thing to keep in mind for the U.S. war on terror. Look how many years it took. You know, it was in 2000, October of 2000. So it took more than 18 years to track this guy down. And this gives us sort of an interesting context as we're looking at what are we doing in Syria, what are we doing elsewhere in the war on terror, because we know that the president talked a lot about that over the holidays. You know, what is America's presence going to look like? What you should know is John Bolton has been traveling overseas. He's talking a lot, that's the president's national security advisor, talking a lot about the way forward in Syria and saying that it's not going to be this sort of rapid withdrawal. We'll see. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is going to be traveling overseas as well to the Middle East this week. And so we're going to be watching, you know, what's going on there. Just want to give you a heads up on that. And then finally, last night, something you're going to see a lot. I don't know if any of you watched the Golden Globes, but there was a moment at the Golden Globes where Glenn Close won Best Actress for a movie called The Wife. And the whole sort of concept behind The Wife is it's about a woman that's following her husband who's getting a Nobel Peace Prize for Literature and sort of reflecting on her own life. And so Glenn Close did the same thing in her speech, sort of reflecting on her own life. And here she won the Golden Globes unexpectedly at 71 years old, beating out Lady Gaga, who is the heavy favorite and obviously, you know, kind of this much younger actress. And so we isolated one of the quotes. You're going to see a lot that Glenn Close was talking about what she thought about The Wife as a movie, but also reflecting on the role of a wife in general. Speaking of roles of wives in general, I'm sitting here doing my work. My husband is actually cleaning the kitchen, which has been the case over the last 2 weeks since I've been absolutely useless. Cover move. So, well, I think Glenn Close brings up an interesting point about making sure that women in the household continue to pursue their dreams. The work in the household is also important. Men need a little help as well. Well, men, how about we all just need a little help, right? I think that's probably the truth. So those are the 3 things I think you guys should know about today. I think you should know about the government shutdown. You should know that it's historic. You know, this is something, we're going to be in some uncharted territory potentially. So that's something I think you should know about. I think you should know about this terrorist that was killed in Yemen and know that the United States is continuing to hunt these terrorists, but also you can see it's a long game, right? It's a long game. And Glenn Close winning the award at the Golden Globes, you know, sort of a surprise, kind of an interesting, happy surprise. And she's never won an Academy Award. So as a famous actress that's had a long career, 45 years, she says, we'll see. Maybe there'll be a surprise at the Academy Awards. Although I'm really curious about the award shows in general, you guys. I just don't know if they have the same relevance. And I'm someone that likes a little Hollywood glamour, right? I mean, why not? In the right way. One thing about the Golden Globes everyone's writing about is that apparently no one mentioned President Trump in any of the speeches. So there's that. I think that was probably a good idea. Let's all just take a little break. Yeah, okay. Great to see you guys. And let us know what stories we can cover better for you so we have you quickly covered throughout the day so you can feel in control of the news and get on with your life. That's the whole point of Smarter News. All right, guys, great to see you. Stay healthy. Use hand sanitizer. I know you're not supposed to just wash your hands. I got it. But please, word to the wise, having gone through this, and we all got vaccinated for the flu, and we still all got it, I'm just wishing none of you get it. It was a good reminder about how devastating it can be. Okay, guys, have a great day. Go get them. And we'll see you the rest of the week.